They are extremely important personalities in Krishna's pastimes. Krishna particularly likes all the Brajavasis, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and the cows are very important inhabitants of Vrindavan. Can I please request the devotees at the back to close the door? We're getting a lot of noise in the class. Thank you very much. Okay, how many of you are like cows or are cow lovers like I am? Okay, so I think you're going to particularly enjoy this class. There's a very famous verse in the Vishnu Puran which is also spoken quite often. In fact, when you're offering when the Vaishnavas offer their food to Krishna, they chant this verse. It's called Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Go Brahmana Ithaya Cha Jagat Ditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So to start the class, we'll invoke this particular verse from the Vishnu Puran. It literally means, let me offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is the worshipable deity, who is the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmanas, and is always benefiting the whole world. I offer my repeated obeisances to the personality of Godhead, known as Krishna and Govinda. Now, from this verse, Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Go Brahmanyaya Hitaya Cha, it says that there are two personalities who are very dear to Krishna in particular, the cows, the Go, and the Brahmanas. And the cows in particular are Krishna's favorites. Now, when Krishna came into this earth, there's that famous story, right? Where was Krishna born? Where is the jail? Yes, in Mathura. But then in the dead of the night, he got taken by Vasudeva, his father, to which place? Yeah, Gokul. And then who were? Yes, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. So Nanda Maharaj, what he did was he took Krishna to the local astrologer that they had in Vrindavan. Anybody know the name of the astrologer? Nobody knows the name of Krishna as astrologer or Nanda Maharaj as astrologer. Oh, very famous. His name was Garga Muni. So Krishna was born in the Rohini Nakshatra. In fact, the scriptures, just a bit of trivia, they describe what was the Rohini Nakshatra was the constellation in which he was born. He was born in the year called Vibha Vasu, and if you even modern scientists, based on the description of the scriptures, when they trace it back, because in modern astronomy, you can go back in time, and when you arrange the whole constellation, it gives you approximately the same year, 5,000 years ago, the same date when Krishna was born, and it verifies what's written in the scriptures. I just thought I'd add that in. So when he looked at Krishna's horoscope, he said many things. He predicted, of course, he said this is, the Lord himself has come in your household. But some of the things that he also told him, that because he's born in the Rohini constellation, he is going to be mastering many, many herds of cows. Which is no surprise, because Nanda Maharaj had many cows, 90 million cows and counting. And because his star sign when he was born, the ascendant star sign in the Vedic horoscope was Taurus. Anyone here are interested in zodiac signs? What is Taurus? How is Taurus symbolized? What animal symbolizes Taurus? Like Leo is lion, Pisces is fish, yes, bull. And because his ascendant was in Taurus, he would be a protector of innumerable bulls. That was Garga Muni in his horoscope for Krishna, amongst many other things. And he said that he'll spend a lot of his time with calves, cows, and bulls. So in all the Goswami literature, which is compiled, and we did a lot of research for this class, Krishna used to approximately spend 12 hours with the cows every day, from 8:24 in the morning to 8:24 p.m. 8:24 a.m. to 8:24 p.m. He had a 12-hour shift to look after the cows. He started looking after the calves from the age of 5, and then gradually graduated to looking after the bulls and the cows as well. The day pastimes. So, in Vedic astrology, they especially in the south of India, they follow this with more rigor. The day is divided into 3 hours each, and each hour is known as a yama. And then when they do the Vedic calculation, they look at there's a 1.5 hours every day, which is the Rahu Kal. They look at the Rahu Kal, where generally you shouldn't start anything. But then there's another thing that they look at, which is Yamagandam, which is in which Yama, which part of the day should you perform any particular activity. So Krishna had that 12-hour shift, 8:24 a.m. to 8:24 p.m. Now, so during the day, his pastimes were more visible to the Brajvasis. So during the night, Krishna was secretly going and meeting the gopis, but even the demigods, everyone in the earth who got the benefit of seeing Krishna's pastimes in the day, reveled in them. In this connection, there's a famous verse in the Vedic scriptures quoted by a Vaishnava saint called Chitte Swami. He's a Vaishnava poet, and he says ideally our situation, how Krishna's situation was that he had cows in front of him, cows behind him, cows everywhere. Sri Krishna, the protector of cows, loves to be surrounded by them. He's filled the land of Vrindavan with so many cows that even Vaikuntha has forgotten that it was because of the cows in the first place that he lifted Govardhan hill. The Vedic scriptures also talk about, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, all of us, anyone who takes birth in this world, you have 7 natural mothers. So you have your own biological mother, you're the mother to these children, and there are many others. But then there are 6 other mothers. Anyone wants to take a guess who the other 6 mothers are? Oh, the initiated devotees should know them. Who are the other 6 mothers?
Mother Nature.
Not Mother Nature. Mother Earth includes nature. So, yeah, Gaumata, Bhumi Devi, you mentioned. And?
Nurse.
Yes, the nurse who's known as Daima in Sanskrit. And?
Guru's wife.
Yes, the Guru's wife, the Guru Mata. And? 2 more. Yeah, that's 5. 2 more. No. 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 I'll give you a clue. Yeah, Bhumi Devi was mentioned. Yeah, on any Australian coin, if you look at one of the sides, she's got. Yeah, that's Rajmata. The queen, whoever the queen is, she's one. And there's one more, which is slightly hard, so I'll say it for you. The Brahmana's wife is the Purohitani. So the 7 mothers are the natural mother or the biological mother. The Guru's wife, as you correctly said, which is the Guru Mata. The Purohitani is the mother, the wife of the Brahman. Rajmata, the queen. Then you said nurse. Yep, the nurse is Daima. And Bhumi Devi, the earth, and Gau Mata, the cow. And that is why especially we should always be indebted to Gau Mata. She's one of our 7 mothers. The milk, the cow is this unique creature, right from its birth to post after it leaves its body, it's still serving us. How? Well, first the cow, it gives you ghee, it gives you butter, it gives you milk, and the milk of the cow in particular are used by are prescribed to be drunk. The milk of the cow in particular, because it refines the brain tissues so that one can understand the Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedic knowledge. That is why it is even more important to revere the cow. And once the cow leaves its body, even the cow manure is a source of fuel. People even make their houses out of cow manure, and it is also a source of medicine. Cow urine also is a medicine in Ayurveda. And once the cow leaves its body, then its body is used as leather, the skin of the cow. So that's the ahimsa leather. So in this way, the cow is one creature who is one entity which serves us all through its life, and is one of the 7 mothers. Now out of these 7 mothers, they are also branched. The mother and the nurse, the natural mother and the nurse, are said to be each other's sisters. The Guru Mata, the queen, the Raj Mata, and the Purohitani, the Brahman's wife, are said to be sisters. And Gau Mata, which is the cow, mother cow, and Dharti Mata or Bhumi Devi, the earth, are also sisters. So that's why sometimes Bhumi Devi is also depicted as a cow, especially in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So coming back to Krishna and his cows. So when Krishna was in Vrindavan, there were so many cows that there were puddles of milk and streams of milk in Vrindavan because of the excessive milk coming from the udders of the cows. In fact, Indra during the Govardhan Hill pastime was very surprised to see milk everywhere. One of the names of Vrindavan in the local Brajbhasa dialect is Sham Gori Bhumi. Sham Gori Bhumi. Sham, anyone know what the meaning of Sham is? Yeah, black. Black as almost like the color of the monsoon cloud. That is Sham. Gori is white. So Sham Gori means black and white Bhumi. So that was the name in Brajbhasa for Vrindavan. Black because of you had on one hand you had all the Yamuna river in Vrindavan, which has a dark complexion, so hence Sham. And Gori Bhumi is because there was another puddles of rivers formed by the milk of the cows. And hence Vrindavan had this name Sham Gori Bhumi. It was black and white at the same time because with all these rivers, the milk of the cows and the Yamuna. And many of the devatas that time were very confused to see that this is Lord Vishnu himself is walking barefoot in the jungles of Vrindavan. All the gopas or the cowherd boys are making fun of Krishna and Balram, and they are just playing around with the cows. Is this really God? They used to wonder. Now even the milk of the cows in Vrindavan has different colors. Has got 5 different colors. The best milk in Vrindavan comes from the cows near the Govardhan Hill, because the grass in the Govardhan Hill is grass which is very sweet and it doesn't cut the tongue of the cows. So the milk from there is the sweetest. If you go to Vrindavan, you can observe it firsthand, even today. The milk in Vrindavan, it is said in the scriptures, is of different colors. One is white. Then there is even the locals, the Brajvasis will tell you, there is milk which is called Malaina Doodh, which is brown in color. And there is Suvarna Doodh, which is golden in color. Then there is Mukta Doodh, which is pearl white. There's white and then there's pearl white. And then there is Dumila Doodh, which is milk which is slightly brown in color. And then Lord Brahma, therefore, in the Gopatapani Upanishad, he calls Krishna, he has a name for Krishna. He says, Go Bhumi Vena Vidito Vidita, which means he says that Krishna is the Lord of the cows of Vrindavan, but the Lord of the cows in Vrindavan is also the Lord of the earth, Lord of everything. And then in this connection, there's a famous pastime that when Yashoda Maya used to put Krishna to sleep at night, she used to tell Krishna sometimes, in this ocean, in this universe, there is an ocean of milk. And baby Krishna used to ask, oh really, there's an ocean of milk? How many cows were needed to create that ocean? And the gopis used to giggle when he used to ask this kind of a question. And Yashoda Maya used to smile and tell him that, my dear son, the milk ocean is not made by the cows. So Krishna said that, how can there be milk without any cows? And Yashoda Maya used to say that the one who has given the power to the cows that they can graze grass and turn them into milk has made the milk ocean. And Krishna said, who's that? And Yashoda Maya used to lower her head, smile, and says, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's all pervading and he's invisible to materialize. You and I can't see him, although it is you only. And Krishna used to hear this, smile, and then slowly drift off to sleep. And it used to happen almost every night. And then Srila Prabhupada in this connection says that the cows in the spiritual world are cousins of the cows in the material world. In fact, there's a very famous Vaishnav scholar, and I'm sure the initiated devotees would have heard of him. His name is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually classifies that the cows in the spiritual world are also from 2 categories. They are the Nitya Siddhas, associates of the Lord, which means they are eternally liberated and they have those forms of the cows. They never leave the Goloka Vrindavan, they never leave those planets, the Vaikuntha planets. And then there are the Sadhana Siddha cows, who have achieved this perfection by sadhana bhakti, by following the rules and regulations of devotional service. And this is probably one of the most important points in today's class, which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, for our benefit. He says that it is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness. One who advances by the instructions of previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of his predecessors in the line of disciplic succession will have success. Of this there is no doubt. So I'll repeat. He says it is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness. one who advances by the instructions of the previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of the predecessors, the Vaishnava acharyas and their predecessors, in the line of disciplic succession, which means it is very important to get initiated in this line of disciplic succession, will have success. Of this there is no doubt. So these sadhana siddha cows are examples of those living entities, those great souls, who have made tremendous advancement by just following the instructions of the previous acharyas and their spiritual master. And hence it is very most important to be obedient to the orders of one spiritual master, and to have a spiritual master in the first place who comes from the line of disciplic succession. And there are 4 Vaishnava sampradayas from where you can have that disciplic succession and those spiritual masters. And further, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur elaborates that such cows are like Chintamani jewels. Chintamani jewels means they can fulfill all your wishes. They fulfill all their desires, all desires, and their mooing is like poetry. Those happy cows are just like the pleasant summer. They always lift their ears to hear Krishna's flute. And as they wander the earth in Gokul's pastimes, they resemble the bubbles of the ocean, as well as the chuckles of Lord Shiva. And they are the infant child of moonlight. So this is beautiful poetry to describe the cows in Goloka Vrindavan by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Something else which is very extraordinary about Krishna's cows is they are Trikala Darshi. If anyone knows what Trikala Darshi means, I'm sure a few of you know. Yes, so the cows in Vrindavan actually can see the past, the present and the future. So in Krishna's pastimes, it was a daily affair that during the afternoon there will be one new demon sent by Kamsa to get Krishna. It was like a daily affair, and Krishna would find a way, Krishna and Balram, to kill the demon. But when the demon used to come, or when Indra came to flood Vrindavan during the Govardhan Hill pastimes, the cows were the first entities who sensed it, and they started crying and running to the Gopas or the cowherd boys, who in turn go and inform Krishna about everything. That the cows are crying, so that means there's some evil omen, which means some demon must be coming nearby, or something not so good is about to happen. So that's the cows understanding that, sensing that there is something unpleasant that's going to happen. Conversely, during festivals like Holi or Diwali or the appearance day of Srimati Radharani, Radhashtami, all the cows will look in the eastern direction and start mooing together. And that is an auspicious sign that it's a very good omen that something good is happening. It's a great festival. And they will happily play with the Gopas mooing in the eastern direction, is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes. And again, like I mentioned, Krishna used to spend more time with the cows than anyone else in Vrindavan. I gave you the timing, 8:24 a.m. to 8:24 p.m. is to be with the cows. 8:24 a.m. to 8:24 p.m. according to the Yamaganda calculations and the Vrindavan Research Institute. So he used to have the cows around him when he was killing demons, when he was playing with the Gopas, and sometimes through the cows he'd also send messages to make arrangements about meeting Srimati Radharani bang at noon in Radhakund. So that was also sometimes done through the agencies of some of the cows. It talks about the Brajvasa scriptures also talk about different kinds of Go Krida or pastimes of Krishna's with the cows. He used to decorate their hands with henna. He used to fit bells. In fact, I can just go on. There are so many things he used to do. But in the end, after observing all of Krishna's pastimes with the cows, amongst them one which is something that we wouldn't know, is that he used to feed them with leaves made from this special kind of tree. It was called the Kher tree. The Brajvasis know what the Kher tree is, and the leaves of those trees immediately make the cows very energized. And then after observing all of this, Lord Brahma has described in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad that Krishna is the best at dealing with the cows. He is the best at binding them with ropes attached to a stick. He's the best and the expert at calling them. He is the best at feeding the cows. He is the best at milking the cows. He is the best at collecting dung from the cows. He is the best at tying cows to the cart. He's the best at running in front of the cows or behind the cows. He's the best at fighting with the bulls. He's the best at controlling them. He's the best at controlling angry bulls. And above all, he is the best at satisfying them by playing his sweet flute and just by showing him his face. Then there were certain main places where Krishna used to take the cows in Vrindavan, and those places are there till today for grazing, for herding. Of course, you need to have, if you have 8:24 a.m. to 8:24 p.m., the 12-hour shift, you need to come up with new places. So there are those places. Some of you may have already gone to them in Vrindavan. If not, make a note and make a point to go to those places. So the 5 principal places where Krishna used to take the cows for grazing in Vrindavan were Bahula Van, Manjula Van, Vatsa Van, Vrindavan itself, and Govardhan. Krishna's Goshala is in a place called Ghazipur. It's near Nandagram. And Radharani's Goshala is in a place called Bardoli near Varsana. Then we've got 15 minutes. I'll try to jump to some other parts of the class. Okay, there's one very unique pastime in Krishna's Leela involving the cows. There's quite a few, but one which is not known that well. It's debated it's also debated a lot amongst the scholars as to did this happen, did this really not happen. But Sanatan Goswami settled the argument in his great book called the Brihad Bhagavad Amrita. Anyone here has heard of the Brihad Bhagavad Amrita? Well, this is the Purushottam month. This is the best time to be buying and reading these books. So we've got Vrajavinoda Mataji there. If you can please raise your hand. Who's got plenty of stock of the Brihad Bhagavad Amrita? I hope I'm right. Yes, and you can collect this book. These books have this particular set of books. There's 3 of them. They have access to so many pastimes of Krishna which you won't find elsewhere. So if you can get your hands on a copy, especially in this month, please contact her. So this particular pastime is settled, whether it happened or not. Yes, it did happen. It is settled in the Brihad Bhagavad Amrita by Sanatan Goswami and further validated in the Garga Samhita. So now we all know that Krishna was taken he came from Mathura to Vrindavan, and then he was taken back to Mathura. Who came to collect Krishna and bring him back to Mathura? Yes, Akrura. So now after Akrura takes Krishna to Vrindavan, does he ever come back to Vrindavan?
Yes.
When does he come back? No. Yeah, you may be right.
Jagannath, when he heard this story, Jagannath, and he became Jagannath.
No, that happens in Dwarka. But you may be partially right, Prabhu. Actually, you may be right. When does Krishna come back to Vrindavan? You know, if you read the Krishna book, he gets news that all the Brajvasis, Vrindavan has become almost like a graveyard without him. And he sends his cousin Uddhava, who looks just like him, to Vrindavan. Does it anywhere mention that Krishna himself comes back to Vrindavan? In fact, then it says that the next meeting between Krishna and the Brajvasi, especially the gopis, happened in Kurukshetra during the solar eclipse. There is no mention of Krishna coming back to Vrindavan. In fact, time and time again, there are Vaishnava scholars who will say, but technically Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. But does Krishna physically come back to Vrindavan? Anyone knows? Okay, I know, not many would, and that's why you should buy the Brihad Bhagavad Amrit. And again, please contact Vrajavinoda Mataji for that. Okay, so according to the Brihad Bhagavata Amrit, it says that when Akrura took Krishna back to Mathura, just like Ravi Shankar Prabhu said, after killing Kamsa, he did come back once. And he came back with Uddhav. And this is mentioned in the Garga Samhita and Brihad Bhagavata Amrit. He comes back once, not with Balram, but he comes back with Uddhav in a golden chariot to meet the Brajvasis. And Vrindavan was transformed. In Krishna's absence, it had turned into a wasteland where everybody was mourning, where the cows had stopped giving milk. Everyone was in a state of depression after he had left. And suddenly it got transformed from a wasteland to a paradise. When his chariot appeared, the first, who were the first Brajvasis who picked it up that Krishna's back? That Krishna's back. Who picked it up? Come on, now, just now I told you, right? They're Trikala Darshis. The cows. The cows picked it up, and the cows follow. Immediately they sensed that Krishna is back. They were the first. And they immediately ran towards the sound of that chariot, and they followed the chariot with their eyes, with their tails, and with their eyes, with their ears, eyes and tails all raised. And after seeing them, Krishna started calling them out individually by names. And some of the names are given. He says, O Kalindi, O Yamuna, O Ganga, O Tungi, O Hamsi, O Kamala. And as soon as he started taking their names, they started lowing. Lowing is they're mooing and they're raising a big puff of dust. And Krishna started talking to the cows. And the cows and the other cows, the gopas were herding. They also ran away from the herd and started coming near the chariot. And soon this chariot was surrounded by millions of cows. And the cows themselves were out of control. They were not able to restrain their thoughts that Krishna is back in Vrindavan. And Krishna caressed them with his hand. The cows started licking Krishna, and they swallowed his beauty with his eyes. They swallowed his beauty with their eyes. And Krishna immediately looks at the cows and says, "Oh mothers, have you missed me as much as I have missed you?" So that tells you how much dear the cows are. All cows are to Krishna, and hence, if you ever get a chance to in any form, do go seva, then you shouldn't miss that opportunity, particularly in this month. So the cows tried to embrace Krishna. And as soon as they tried to do that, he went back to his chariot. So they started rocking the chariot. And he gazed adoringly at their beauty and charm. And Krishna laughed. He laughed and he looked at those cows and he smilingly said, "There are no such cows in Mathura." So that means that Krishna is comparing the cows of Vrindavan, Vraj, to the cows of Mathura. And he's saying, there are no such cows in Mathura. Which means the cows in Vrindavan, out of all the cows are amongst our mothers. But especially amongst all of them, the cows of Vrindavan are the dearest to Krishna. So that's what he says. And then in this pastime, the Vedic scholars say that, usually when there is this word in Sanskrit, which is extremely dear to all of us. We all think about it every day. We want more of it. It's a word. It's called dhan. Anyone knows what dhan means? Yeah, wealth. And there's another meaning to dhan in Sanskrit. It can be inferred to mean money, and it can also be inferred to mean treasure. And the treasure may be treasure or treasure of a different kind. So and it particularly the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and the other Vaishnava Acharyas, they use the example of the gopis. The gopis used to sell different kinds of milk products in the market, and they used to sell it to achieve two principal aims. One is to gain the actual money, the dhan, which is known as money, and more importantly, to gain Krishna's association, which was the real dhan for them. Because Krishna and the cowherd boys used to levy the tax on their products. And that was the real, for them, that was the real dhan, or the treasure of Krishna's and Balramji's association was the real dhan. Is the play of words that the Vaishnava Acharyas make between the money dhan and the actual, the treasure of the association of Krishna and his devotees. So if you have to toss up between the dhan, the material wealth of this world, and the spiritual wealth of gaining association of Krishna's devotees, which one's greater? Yes, the association of Krishna's devotees, that dhan is greater than all the dhan in this world. Why? Because the acharyas say that by gaining the dhan of the association of the saintly devotees of Krishna, one can easily gain the other dhan, the actual material wealth of this world. That is nothing compared to it. And we've got very little time, so I'll compare. So there's one, we'll talk about one special pastime where the goes are, where the Gaumata is mentioned in great detail. So when all of you are all of you familiar with the Krishna's pastime of lifting the Govardhan hill? Yes. So for how many days and how many nights does Krishna lift the Govardhan hill on one little finger? Yes. Yes, for 7 days. And so when you see any picture, there's no picture in the painting in the temple, but when you see any painting in the temple of Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill, if you look at any picture, you will see that the cows are like staring at Krishna. Anyone notice that? Actually, yeah, if you see or look for it in the Krishna book, but the cows are just like staring point blank. That's what they do for 7 days constantly, that they are staring at Krishna's face. And so after 7 days, when the time comes when Indra realizes, okay, this must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He has the Samvartaka cloud, which is the cloud which floods the earth during the time of the cosmic annihilation, and that cloud, despite all that torrential rain, it cannot even cause a dent in Vrindavan. So he realizes that the personality that I'm up against here has to be the Supreme Personality of God himself. And Indra, who is the king of heaven, he relents. And then the rain comes to a standstill. It finally stops pouring. But the cows are not leaving. The cows are so transfixed on seeing Krishna that they don't want to leave. And the cows, and then the Gopas come out, all the elderly Brajvasis come out, but the only personalities were Krishna still holding the hill in his hand, and the cows are surrounding him, and ultimately the Brajvasis have to plead to Krishna to somehow get the cows out of the vicinity of the Govardhan hill. And Krishna has to talk to them and play the flute with one hand to then get their attention and slowly move the cows out of the Govardhan hill, and being with the Gopas again. And the first thing that the cows do is that they jump and kick in the air when the Gopas call them out. But to achieve this, you need Krishna. But when the cows come out of the Govardhan hill, they see that Krishna still has the Govardhan hill on his finger. So again they run back to him. And they surround him and they start licking him continuously. Because for that just 1 minute, the last 7 days they've been staring at him, they've come out, and when they look back, they see Krishna again and they run back towards him. It's a very, very sweet pastime. And then Krishna, with a very compassionate glance on them, starts talking to them, and again puts the hill down and plays his sweet flute, and he is surrounded by the cows till he slowly, him and Balramji, lead the cows out back to the Gopas. There are many such pastimes. I know we've got another announcement at 6:45, but okay, a very, very quick pastime is, it denotes one very important place in Vrindavan Dham. Is one day Krishna and Balram, just to play a trick on the cowherd boys, hid themselves and nobody could find them. And so in the daytime, all the Gopas started looking for Krishna, and they started looking through all the 12 forests of Vrindavan, but they could not find him. But there were only one living. But like I said, there are these living entities, Krishna's Brajvasis, who are Trikala Darshis. Who are they? So the cows, when they realized that the Gopas are searching for Krishna and Balram, they took the lead, and they could detect Krishna and Balram because they could smell the scent of Krishna and Balram, the fragrance in the air. Only they could. And they followed the fragrance, and the Gopas realized that the cows are onto something here, and they started chasing. Wherever the cows put their footprints, the Gopas used to follow that. And slowly, the cows went to that hiding place, much to the delight of the Gopas and to the delight of the cows. So this place in Vrindavan is called Pashupa. Pashu refers to the cows. It literally means animal in Sanskrit, but in this pastime it means the cows. And Pa is the hoof prints made by the cows, and hence this particular place is known as Pashupa or Pashopa in Vrindavan. And the Acharyas say that Krishna is present everywhere, including the core of our heart. But the Gopas could not find him without taking the shelter of the great souls, who are the cows in this pastime, who know how to find Krishna. So similarly, the Acharyas call out that Krishna is present everywhere, including the core of our heart. But all the living entities in this world who are searching for him cannot find Krishna till they take the shelter of the who? Fill in the blanks. No, cows and who? The cows. The gopas have to take shelter of the cows. You and I have to take shelter of the cows and the acharyas and the spiritual masters. Without you taking the shelter of the acharyas and having a spiritual master, you cannot find Krishna. There's a verse in the Mahabharata. Anyone here disciples of Radhanath Swami? None? Because Radhanath Maharaj quotes this verse quite often. It's from the Mahabharata, it's from the Vana Parva in the Mahabharata. Of course, we've got Ujjvala Rasa Mataji. You put your hand up. Disciples of Radhanath Maharaj. Yeah. So Radhanath Maharaj quite often he quotes this verse. It's a very nice verse. And he says, Dharmash Tattvam Nihitam. This is from the Mahabharata Vana Parva 3.13.77. It says, Dharmash Tattvam Nihitam Guhyam Mahajano Yena Gata Supanta. So with these lines we'll close the class. Mahajano Yena Gata Supanta is very important. So Dharmash Tattvam Nihitam Guhyam Mahajano Yena Gata Supanta. It says it is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness. But the truth, it is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness or even dharma for that matter. But the truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of unadulterated, self-realized persons. Therefore, one should follow in the footsteps of such Mahajans or great souls. And our main Mahajan in the Hare Krishna movement is seated right there, was Srila Prabhupada. He formed his own herd of devotees who formed their own herd, and we are also part of that herd. Just like the cows in Vrindavan were parts of different herds. And just like the cows in Vrindavan used to run towards Krishna, our business is to run towards the acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and his disciples in this world. And in this way, all the perfection of life is achieved. So, with that, we'll end the class. Srila Prabhupada ki. Raja Vinodha Mataji, you had announcements to make. Thank you. Actually, the class won't be complete if I say this. Gau Mata ki.